Let's go on now to our discussion. Mr. Emmanuel Akpe is a stress management coach and author of How Do I Escape Post-COVID-19 Stress. Thank you so much, Mr. Akpe, for joining us. I hope I got that name right. Akpe. Akpe. Thank you so much. Children have been at home for well over 4 months now, since March, when schools closed, and supposedly they are under the watchful eyes of their parents and their guardians, and some of them are privileged to do online teaching and lessons. Others, particularly those who are in public schools, do not have such luxury. So how do you think they have been coping with the stress that this comes with? Because most of them are used. I have children at home who say, oh, want to go back to school. Why are schools not resuming?
Yes, COVID-19 has actually changed the things as we know it. Things are no longer normal. There's a new normal, a new reality, and we must all change it, face it, especially the children too. And most children are not really taking it very well. Some children are becoming apprehensive, anxious, frustrated. Even my 6-year-old son is already complaining. He's playing too much, and it's also affecting them psychologically. So it's affecting them both psychologically and physically. You see a lot of children adding so much weight because when you have nothing doing and you are eating so much food. In fact, some children eat as much as 3-4 times, 4-5 times a day. Yes, and some of them are becoming fat, bloated, and all that. So the psychological impact of COVID-19 on children cannot be overemphasized.
Stay with us, Dr. Ekiako. Let me turn to Mr. Akpe here in the studio. She just talked now about how the sanity of parents will affect the behavior or the stress level of the children. How does this work?
Yes, actually, stress is contagious. So it means that if a parent has stress, it can transfer it to children. So during this period, the major cause of stress will be financial, because a lot of people have lost their source of income. The economy, COVID-19 has switched the economy from what we have, or what we call the job economy, to the digital economy. So things are changing. The way you do business is no longer the same. So that is definitely going to trickle down to the children, because the children will start to feel apprehensive. Their understanding of how money works might be altered, in the case that they might grow up with this scarcity mentality, because their parents keep telling them there's no money, there's COVID-19, there's no money. So they grow up with that mentality, and it's going to affect them. Actually, I read the report about the Great Depression that happened sometime ago in history, and the report came out that the children that were born during that time had poverty mentality. So they could not do well in business because they had this mindset that there was no money for anything, and they grew up with it. So in trying to help your children, you must help them understand how money is not an issue. Give them that mindset so that it doesn't alter how they behave or how they grow up. And another thing is, try as much as possible to make your home conducive for your children. I know this time a lot of parents are shouting, a lot of parents are screaming on their children and all that. You need to get a way to make them understand. You understand what is going on. It will help them to reason. You will be surprised that children as little as 2-3 years can understand in some certain level what is happening. Because sometimes I listen to some programs and I hear children say, I didn't do birthday party because of COVID-19. You understand? So if you don't explain it to them very well, that this COVID-19 is just for a short period of time. Because immediately the vaccine comes out and people start taking vaccination, start taking treatment, we are entering into the post-COVID-19 era. So whatever happens during this COVID-19 is just like a foundation for the new economy, the new life that everybody is launching into.
So how much of television should children watch this period? Dr. Adak just talked about ensuring that the kind of programs that children watch and all of that. For children who are not carrying on online classes, for instance, they probably have only the television to turn to for the rest of the day, especially if they don't have enough space to operate. How much of it, and how does it affect their mentality?
Yeah, it should be limited. Should be limited. You should have time for watching mostly cartoon for the children and younger adults, maybe some of these children high school movies and all that. But it should be limited, because it could, whatever you are passing across to them could alter their way of thinking. You understand? So what the image that they have shows on TV is projecting is more like not what is on ground. No, it's not a reality. So if you allow your TV to educate your children, they are going to grow up very badly. So they should have a TV time, and everybody, you can have access to educational materials now. You understand? And I let me say this: this is a time where private school teachers should actually make money. I was surprised when I saw someone on Twitter crying that he's not been able to feed his family, because every parent wants to educate their children, whether they are going to school or not. Nobody wants his child to be left behind. So this is the time to position yourself. Make sure you follow the NCDC protocol. Make sure everything, you work out everything. It's a very neat environment. They will employ you, so you do the training for them. So children have time to watch TV, and they have time for their studies. Because if they lose sight of their studies, when they go back to school, you start seeing them doing very badly.
Yeah, because they would have been disconnected from their education for this period of time.
Exactly.
Especially now that no one knows when exactly schools will reopen.
Exactly.
All right. Akpe, should there be what I will call children-specific communication on this pandemic, for instance? Is the kind of information that is available at the moment, is it appropriate? Is it suitable for children too? Or should there be a children-specific communication strategy put in place?
Yes.
As part of managing the stress of their having to stay at home and not go to school or do anything?
Yeah, there should be. The media is full of fear. There was a cartoon advert that was targeted at children, but I found out that it was to create fear, not to go out to go and play. That is not what it should be. You should be able to explain to the child in a clear term that this is a pandemic, and you need to do this thing, not because of fear, but so that it can be safe. You understand? So that you don't get sick. So that is a different perspective than for you to put fear in the heart of the children. I think in all of these things, the government, or let me say our agencies, are not really targeting the children. You understand? Because most of this information you see online, they are not for children, especially when it concerns the pandemic, the COVID-19. So you need to organize programs that would tell the children that something new is happening. You understand? You could get infected, and look at how it turns out. And when you do that, it balances up their stress level. Because when you create fear, fear has ripple effects. It's going to affect their health. It's going to bring down their immune system. It's going to make them sick. It's going to make them apprehensive. You understand? When they see the look on your face and they see you are not always happy, you understand? And you're always there with them because they are observant. And with the recent statistics that shows that there's an increase in domestic violence, you understand, it could have severe impact on the children. Because when at every point in time you are quarreling with your spouse, or you're having issues surrounding food, surrounding money and all that, it's going to severely impact them. So you need to pass that information in the media to tell the children, and look at what is going on. We are not trying to scare you, but we are trying to keep you safe. I think that's a better message.
All right, Mr. Manuel Akpe, thank you so much. This is a very critical part of this fight against the COVID-19. The children also need to be targeted, and appropriate information passed on to them, so that they understand exactly what is going on, and they too, just as we are telling the adults to take responsibility, they too can take responsibility.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Mr.
Emmanuel Akpe is a stress management coach and author of How Do I Escape COVID-19 Stress? how do I escape COVID-19 stress?
Actually, like what I said earlier, I said the COVID-19 has introduced a new economy. You understand? And everyone is moving digital. You know, there was nothing like working remotely before. But we now have some terms. We have virtual learning. We have working remotely. We have different Zoom and other online platforms, Skype and all that are doing very well now. In fact, they're making money. So if you don't switch, if you remain behind, the world is going to leave you behind and you'll be frustrated.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Emmanuel Akpe. And